What is going on, y'all? Welcome back to the Locks DFS MLB breakdown. My name is Narang. I'm from locksdfs.com, and I will be breaking down this 15-game main slate on DraftKings and FanDuel for Tuesday, June 11th. I don't know what's going on with my video right now. If it looks a little laggy, just ignore it. But before I get into just breaking down this slate, I got to mention the giveaway that we run every single week. Christian announced the winner to last week's giveaway on yesterday's video. So if you haven't checked that out, please do go check that out. See if you win. See if you were the winner, and then DM us to get your free season pass of your choice. And to be entered in the next week's giveaway, all you got to do is leave a like and leave a comment on these videos that we're going to post throughout the week. And at the end of the week, we'll go through them all, pick a winner, and award you with a free season pass of your choice. So yeah, with that being said, let's just jump into this slate. We're going to do things a little differently. I'm actually going to take you guys into the website for just a brief portion of this breakdown, just to show you guys sort of what we're putting out for our members and how it can help you build your lineup. And so let's talk about starting pitching. So usually we start with our favorite point per dollar high price starting pitcher. And today it's a little bit tougher than usual. Usually I'm pretty sold on one guy. But today I'm in between a couple guys. I'm in between Paxton and Bauer for today. The main reason I'm in between them is because Bauer, you just seen him throw such an absurd amount of pitches every game. He seems like even when he's struggling, like this last game versus Minnesota, where he was getting beat up by Max Kepler, giving up 3 home runs to him, he still came out for the 8th inning, and he was over 100 pitches already, and not putting up a tremendous game either. Seems like a game they would turn to their bullpen, but they didn't. And as you can see by his pitch count, 119, 111, 109, 123, 99, 122. It's just a massive floor of almost 120 pitches, and he is a talented pitcher, so love this spot for him. But the guy I'm going to talk about in this video is going to be James Paxton. We saw this Mets team total open up at 3-9. With the Yankees at 5-2. And since we've seen some pretty massive line movement come in on the Yankees, almost 30 points early in the day, which is definitely notable. And I really like this spot for James Paxton. So like I was saying, let me take you guys into our website real quick. This is the MLB tab, obviously. And Christian puts out this first look every morning just to give you guys some brief notes that are still quite valuable. If this is almost the only research you do, it is probably valuable enough. But he puts out these brief notes about the best hitting teams in the league, worst hitting teams in the league, worst bullpen, best strikeout minus walk percentage, worst strikeout minus walk percentage, highest hard hit, lowest hard hit, barrel percentage, xFIPs, and then hitting environments as well. I want to talk about this strikeout minus walk percentage. James Paxton, as you can see from 2018 to 2019, just a little bit of a bigger sample size, has the best strikeout minus walk percentage in the league, or on this slate, I should say, excuse me. The Mets have been a bad team versus left-handed pitching. I don't have the exact number pulled up in front of me, but it has been bad. And James Paxton just gives you awesome strikeout upside. If I pull up his numbers this year, his swinging strike rate is best on the slate at 14.7%, up there with the aces as he is. And then a 45 inning sample size, and he's got monster numbers, 2.56 xFIP to lefties, 3.99 to righties. At home, he's been even better with the 3.04 xFIP. Paxton, the kind of knock on him has been the fact that since he's come back from injury, he only went 66 and 83 pitches. I figured he would go a little over 83 if he wasn't struggling in his start versus Toronto, but I'm really just chalking that up to just a bad start. I think if he's cruising and pitching well, he'll easily touch the 90, 95, 100 mark. Because as we see earlier in the year, this is a guy that typically is like a Trevor Bauer type pitcher. They go real deep. Their pitching coach, their coach lets them get extended past 100 pitches fairly often. So I think if he's pitching well, which I anticipate he will, they'll be letting him go. If you are concerned about it, though, his pitch count, Trevor Bauer is the move for you. And then the low price guys, there's 2 guys that I think are pretty interesting here. One of them is generating quite a bit of ownership as far as 1 p.m. And that's Jacob Junis. Versus the Detroit Tigers. I think part of that ownership is because of the Tigers' line movement. They opened up at, I believe, a 4-3 team total and have since dropped all the way to 3.9 with some reverse line movement against them as well. As you can see, only 45% of bets on the Royals that they moved from minus 125 to minus 140 on the money line, which is definitely positive line movement for a starting pitcher. Jacob Junis, a 2-pitch pitcher, fastball, slider, but this Detroit Tigers team, I don't have the number up, but I looked it up before recording this video. This Tigers team is the 7th worst team versus the slider, which is a pitch that Junis features a little over 40% of the time. Like I said, 2-pitch pitcher, so definitely want to struggle against one of those pitches. They are going to roll out a lot of right-handed bats, which Jacob Junis has been stronger on over the past year. These are his numbers this year. Does a decent job getting ground balls. And for the price, is going to make a lot of sense on DK so that you can still afford some of these bats that are in really good spots. And then the other guy that I think is pretty interesting in the low price range is Martin Perez. He's added that cutter. Obviously, he's added some velo to his fastball. He's brought his swinging strike rate all the way up to 10.9%. His splits are pretty decent as far as his numbers go. 4.03 xFIP to lefties, 4.58 to righties, 4.12 xFIP at home, and just over a K per 9. All fairly good numbers as far as targeting him as a starting pitching option. And then if we look at over the last 14 days, how teams are performing strikeout percentage wise, we see that the Mariners have the 6th highest strikeout rate, and the Tigers as well have the 3rd highest strikeout rate over the last 14 days, which makes both Perez and Junis quite viable cheap options to pair with a nice high price starting pitcher on this slate. So that'll do it as far as starting pitching goes. And then let's talk about a few of my spots for bats. The first spot I'm going to have to mention is Coors. We have Pete Lambert, who got called up in his last start versus Chicago and performed really, really well. But we have him back in Coors Field versus the same Chicago Cubs team, who has now, instead of a low-ish implied team total, they're sitting at a 6.4 implied team total. These stats look amazing, but you got to keep in mind it's only in one start. No one's kind of expecting him to be as good as he was in his last start. So I definitely think this is a spot where Chicago seeing it back-to-back could definitely take advantage of that. And then actually the underdog, which we rarely see in Coors, is the Rockies with a 5.7 team total versus Jose Quintana. But I'm almost more interested in them, specifically the righties. Jose Quintana, as you can see, home ERA 2.98, on the road struggled a lot more with a 5.02 ERA. Now he's going into Coors Field. 4.36 xFIP versus righties, and quite dominant with a 2.47 xFIP versus lefties. Still giving up a bit too much hard contact though, 45% versus lefties, 35% versus righties. And the real interesting thing about Jose Quintana is he's a guy who he struggled a lot last year, and that's because he didn't really have a feel for his curveball. And if he doesn't have a feel for his curveball, he becomes a below average starting pitcher. But if we go ahead and look at his pitch type and see what pitches he is throwing, he's throwing his fastball about 64% of the time when he's throwing his curveball. But more importantly, he's throwing his curveball about 26% of the time. And obviously, as we know, at Coors Field, there is no Mendoza effect. So curveballs are quite ineffective. All breaking pitches like a curveball, a slider, they're just not as effective in Coors Field. They just don't have as much break on them as they do at sea level. So if you mitigate this curveball for him and you have these Rocky hitters spitting on this curveball and just sitting on a 91, 92 mile an hour fastball, it's going to spell a lot of trouble for Jose Quintana. So I'm definitely interested in these right-handed Rocky bats like Nato, Story, Desmond, those kind of guys. So I'm going to be looking at this game. And then I think another cheap stack you can look for is the Philadelphia Phillies versus John Duplantier. Actually been a decent pitcher in about a 20-inning sample size. I mean, he's striking out quite a few left-handed bats. He's got a real nice changeup that works well versus lefties. 3.98 xFIP versus lefties, 4.82 versus righties. He's been pretty good on the road. But the real issue with him, and this was actually brought to my attention via Christian's First Look article, because I scroll through this every day. If we go ahead and look up highest hard hit percentage, we see John Duplantier has the highest hard hit percentage on the entire slate at 47.3%. Christian obviously added this note that's only in 22 innings pitched, but it's still a big enough sample size to take advantage of. And that's something that I'm going to be doing because of these prices of these Phillies. So we see John Duplantier giving up a 57% hard hit rate versus lefties and a 42% hard hit rate versus righties. And then we go and look at these Philadelphia Phillies prices. And we have guys like Bryce Harper sitting at 4.2K. Cesar is going to be leading off again at 3.6. Very interested in that. Segura, he homered and stole a base yesterday. He's 4K. Reese homered. He's 4.1. Real Muto, 4-1. Jay Bruce, the most expensive of them, and he's been on a tear at 4-8. I think you can target quite a few of these guys, not only as a full stack, but also as individual one-offs. So that's definitely something I'm going to be looking at quite a bit on this slate. And with that being said, let's get into these home run calls. So as you guys know, one guy over 4K, one guy below 4K. And for these home run calls, we're going to go right back to Coors Field for them. Just sort of have to. For the low price guy, I got to take advantage of Carlos Gonzalez being 3.6K in his old stomping grounds at Coors. Super interested in that price point. Just like yesterday when he was 3K and you saw him in almost everyone's lineup. It's probably going to be more of the same here with a 6.4 run total, batting 5th on the road. In the projected lineup at least. So he's going to be the low price home run call of the day. And then the high price guy, I'm going to go right back to Nolan Arenado. You guys know what I said about that curveball not being as effective at Coors Field. I think Nado's a guy that's going to spit on quite a few curveballs, sit on a 91, 92 mile an hour fastball, and crush it. So I'm going to go both home run calls in this game with Cargo and Nolan Arenado. But yeah, so with that being said, that'll wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Again, if you did enjoy, leave a like, leave a comment. It means a lot to us, and you'll be entered into winning that giveaway. And then again, I hope showing you guys a little bit into what we're doing here at Locks. In addition to this, you're going to get a top stacks article as well as a final lock sheet that comes with player grades and it's going to be color coordinated as far as how we like them, cash game play, GPP play, value play, all that kind of good stuff. So if you are interested, locksdfs.com, get yourself a pass. We'd really appreciate having you on the team, and I think it will make you a better DFS player yourself. So with that being said, guys, thanks for checking out the video, and I will see y'all on Thursday. Peace.